Stress can have negative effects on your life in many ways. Whether it be physically or emotionally, too much stress is never a good thing. Parents of children with special needs experience more stress than most parents. Taking care of a child is already a monumental task, but when you factor in special needs, parents can easily feel overwhelmed or overextended. There are ways for parents to cope with and manage their stress that will lead to an overall healthier and happier life. Today we will discuss how to create less stressful lives for special needs children and their parents, specifically twice exceptional families, children who are both gifted and who have some sort of other special need. So, what are the risks of too much stress? Studies have found that parents of special needs children are at a higher risk for divorce. Other studies have shown that caregivers of special needs children also had poorer overall health. Parents of special needs children are also at a higher risk for depression symptoms. On the other hand, parents who have positive coping skills experience less depression symptoms. What causes stress in parents of children with special needs? There are several factors that could lead to this. Financial stress from numerous doctor's appointments and special services, fear of judgment from society, and lack of social support are just a few. The three main factors that affect parental stress, according to Xiao, are the child's problem behaviors, the parent's coping strategies, and support from other families. Here, we will discuss these three factors more in depth: what the child's needs are and if they are being met, how this may affect their problem behaviors, what kind of coping strategies are useful to parents, and how to create a social support group to lessen stress. First things first, what does every parent want to meet the needs of their child? Every parent wants their child to be well taken care of. In the case of twice exceptional children, that's twice the amount of needs a parent must take care of. To lessen stress, parents should be well educated on what these needs are. If they are unaware of what their child needs, they don't know how to help them and therefore become stressed. Let's discuss what the needs of a gifted child consist of. One thing that is often overlooked when referring to the needs of gifted students is their social and emotional needs. We often prioritize the academic performance and abilities of these students, but so much of everything gifted children do is based on their social and emotional needs. One myth that many people believe is that gifted children are socially awkward and struggle to make friends. This is not always the case. A study by Richards, Insel, and Shute found no evidence to suggest that gifted students were emotionally or behaviorally maladjusted. They found that gifted students were often more self-reliant, had a higher self of adequacy, and more positive feelings towards teachers. Gifted students also reported less indicators for depression than other students. So, you don't have to worry as much about your gifted student being emotionally or behaviorally maladjusted. So, does that mean they can just take care of themselves? No. A common myth is that gifted children can fend for themselves and don't need extra services or care. This is not the case. All students need to be shown that they are important and that their teachers and parents care about their needs. Specifically, some twice exceptional students may be more vulnerable to social and emotional difficulties because they feel things at stronger intensities than their peers. You can help your child manage their emotions by keeping a journal to track certain emotions or difficulties and discussing them together. For example, if your child feels particularly angry while doing math problems, they can take note of this in their journal and then later you can discuss this together. It is important to emphasize to gifted students that while they are indeed gifted, they still have to work hard and put effort into their work. When we let children think that because they are gifted, things should just come naturally to them, this can result in many negative outcomes. It could decrease the student's motivation to work hard and study. It could also lead the student to think that if they are struggling in a subject, there is something wrong with them because since they are gifted, they should be perfect at everything. This thinking can result in children misbehaving, which leads us into our next topic. One factor that often leads to parental stress is the child's behaviors. What can a parent do to improve their child's behavior? First, the parent must find the root of the problem behavior. Why is the child acting this way? A simple, evidence-based way to do this would be through an ABC chart. In an ABC chart, the A stands for antecedent, or what happens just before the behavior occurs. The B stands for behavior, which is anything a person says or does. The C stands for consequence, or what follows directly after the behavior. ABC charts are commonly used in behavior modification to find out what is causing someone's problem behavior. You cannot help your child unless you first understand what is causing the behavior. Many people find comfort in organization and seeing things written out in front of them. If this is the case for you as a parent, an ABC chart may help you to find out what is causing your child's problem behavior, which you can then work to change and reduce your own stress. What can be some possible causes for problem behaviors in gifted children? Oftentimes, the student doesn't perform to the best of their ability or is underachieving because they lack motivation. One way to increase motivation in your child is to provide them with the 5 C's: control, choice, challenge, complexity, and caring. If a child is seeking these things in the classroom or at home, they may be lacking motivation to perform well. Although a parent may not be able to control the way a teacher presents materials in a classroom, one thing they can always control is caring. The parent should show their child that they support and care for them at all times. A parent can also discuss these 5 C's with the child's teacher by asking them to challenge their child more or by offering them more choices. Another reason your child may be misbehaving is because of boredom. Kavinsky and Keeley cite boredom as being associated with frustration, anger, and disengagement. These feelings of boredom can lead to acting out behaviors both in the classroom and at home. Boredom has also been linked to more severe negative behaviors like overeating and taking drugs. Gifted children may oftentimes find themselves bored in a regular classroom if they aren't being challenged enough. If this is the case for your child, you may consider a pull-out program or accelerating your child to reduce feelings of boredom. Since problem behaviors of a child is one of the 3 factors leading to stress in parents of special needs, it is important to get a grasp of why these behaviors are occurring and what we can do to stop them. The next factor impacting stress in parents of children with special needs is the social support system. It can be stressful when you feel like you're alone in the parenting battle, working so hard all the time without anyone to reach out to for help. That's why it's so important to build a social support system. First of all, there should be people in your life who you can turn to when you need a shoulder to cry on. Being able to talk to someone about your feelings is important for anyone, especially a parent of a child with special needs who has so much extra stress already. Several studies have found that having a peer support group to turn to can alleviate some of the stress associated with special needs. Look for support groups for parents of gifted children or special needs children. If there isn't already a group, make one yourself. Talk to other parents at school events and discuss the possibility of meeting bi-weekly to discuss your struggles, victories, and life in general. On the professional side, parents need to make connections with their children's teachers, therapists, doctors, and community members. It's important that everyone who works with your child has the same values and standards to hold your child to. Building relationships with the professionals in your children's life is crucial. This can help you feel more trusting towards them. Any parent wants to know that the professionals who are caring for their child are trustworthy and hold the same values and ideals that you do. One thing to remember when thinking about coping strategies is that we want long-term effective coping skills. Many of us may think of kicking back with Netflix after a long day as coping, but that is just a way to temporarily avoid the problem or avoidance-oriented coping. This can often lead to higher levels of stress, according to Zhao. The problem will still be there tomorrow, and oftentimes it's just grown bigger. An appropriate and strong coping strategy is task-oriented coping. This involves problem-solving and taking action to change the situation and minimize stress. For example, you are stressed because your child is struggling in math and you don't know how to help them. The task-oriented coping skill for this would be to address the problem and hire your child a tutor or ask for additional resources from the teacher. The problem could still persist. Your child could continue to struggle, but you took an action to change the situation and can stress less knowing that your child's needs are being taken care of. This coping skill involves taking action, which may seem daunting at first when you already have a busy to-do list. However, in the long run, it will decrease stress more than avoiding the problem would. Another appropriate coping strategy is emotion-oriented coping. This is when you address the emotions that we feel due to the stressors and trying to reframe the situation in a way that is less stressful and upsetting. Think of this as taking the glass half full approach to everything. This would take a lot of cognitive effort and being conscious of your emotions at specific times. This can seem daunting as well, but in the long run can decrease stress in all areas of your life, not just stress related to your child's special needs. For example, your child has an assessment coming up that will determine his placement in a certain class. You wait for him in the lobby and begin to shake. You can interpret this in two ways. I'm so nervous for him, I'm shaking. Or, I'm so excited for him, I'm shaking. The second thought pattern would be consistent with less stress. The power of positive thinking is real and can actually result in less stress. As a parent, your life is stressful as is. As the parent of a child who is gifted and has special needs, you may suffer from even more stress. Too much stress can have negative effects on your health and emotional well-being. The factors that go into this stress as the parent of a child with special needs are often problem behaviors, social support, and coping strategies. You can apply the information listed here today to decrease your stress and take better care of both you and your child.